The invasion is real. I'm 100% sure our friend R.R. Stanton has been replaced by a Skrull. Losing his fandom of the MCU? Don't believe it for 1 minute. Kidding, of course. Am I? But Arch, we miss you, buddy. You're the founder of this channel, and we always love having your insights on the show. We hope you will be able to rekindle that love for pop culture that has been eluding you for a while now, and find your way back to us. If not, also cool. We love you no matter what. This is the Review of Champions, and I'm your host, Grandmaster. With me is a powerful panel made up of the finest champions Sakar has to offer. Let me introduce them to you. Voice only, Miss Loki's mom.
Hey, how are you guys?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm mending on the mend, as they say, with my little shoulder bump.
With us also the man with the hat, Mr. Taylor First. How are you, man?
I'm good.
Great to hear. And again, his beautiful face on camera, Merv. How are you?
Fantastic.
That's good to hear. Today we're going to talk about episode 4 of Secret Invasion called Beloved. But before we do, I want to ask you all to help us out. Like and share this video. Subscribe to our channel. And if you really can't get enough of us, join our forum on Scar.freeforums.net. Set up an account, get to know us, and yes, you can join us on our reviews or podcast. We would love to have you on the show. Consider this your final warning. After this point, the spoilers are incoming. So if you haven't seen this week's episode yet, go do that first and then check out our review. In Beloved, Fury's wife is ordered by Scrody to kill Fury. Will she? Can she? Meanwhile, Gaia returns from the dead, and she has some daddy issues. Taylor, last week you were saying they need a darn good explanation for Gaia's return. So my question to you is, did they give you a darn good explanation for her return?
Not even close. It was, first of all, left her lying out there in the road with nobody watching her and nobody go out to get her or anything like that. That was dumb. And then they show like a 10-second flashback where she just walked into the heavily guarded super secret room with his super secret machine in it and gave herself an upgrade with no one knowing about it. And that was like a 10-second flashback, and that's it. That's all we needed to know about how that incredibly important thing happened. So yeah, not satisfied with that part.
No, I thought so. Can I have your quick thoughts on the episode as a whole?
It was an episode. You
Yeah.
want me to elaborate?
Well, you can keep it simple for now and then bash it or praise it later.
It was okay. I mean, there was some good conversations, some good acting. There's always good acting in the show. I'll say that much for it. But as far as where the story is going right now, or how the overall show is performing right now, I got some issues that we'll talk about. But it wasn't horrible. I didn't walk away in disgust after watching it, but nothing special about it.
Yeah, I will share my thoughts in a minute. Loki's mom. We've seen Rhodey now. He has been outed as a Skrull, which we saw coming, of course. But does that mean that the real Rhodey doesn't even know that his good friend Tony Stark is dead? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's confusing a little bit because don't really remember Rhodey being such an asshole in the movie. So this is I'm trying to figure out if Rhodey's on ice somewhere with the real Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I don't really know. I'm with Taylor one. It's like I'm not sure where they're going with it. The whole like you say, she super scrolled herself, and I guess that was the whole thing. That bulletproof is what I said last week, so that's exactly what they were going to do. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm at a loss. I don't know why Brody would. I'm gonna have to go back and look at some of the Avenger movies, I guess, and just try to figure out
Yeah,
where
I
it's
asked
at.
this also.
I'm just kind of lost at this.
Yeah, Marvel Studios said that Rhodey has been a Skrull for at least one movie, but maybe even more. So some people say it may have been that they switched him up when he was in the ambulance from in the Civil War airport brawl towards the hospital or something, and they switched him up at that point. But I don't know if that's true. But
Or if he was a Skrull all along from Iron Man, when we first saw him in Iron Man.
yeah, my guess, he turned Skrull the moment they released Iron Man 2 because he all of a sudden changed appearance. But that's that's another joke. But can I have your thoughts on the episode as a whole, quick?
Quick scan. I mean, it had a lot of good, like you say, it had the good scenes. I thought that one scene between him and his wife was just really well played. It was just tense, and then it had that the way it came about, the shootout, and I thought that was pretty clever. And then of course, it was slow going, but when it really got to kidnap the president, it was or kill the president, whatever it was, it got really exciting at that point. I thought that was a really good scene, how and everything. So here again, I mean, I'm not as happy with this episode as I have been with the others, but yeah, it was okay. It was okay. I'm not, it's not like really, it's not, what's her name, She-Hulk level.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. Merv, we get another shock death or cliffhanger. I'm getting a little bit bored. I would even consider it bad writing. Do you agree?
Absolutely. That was one of my biggest cons for this episode and the series as a whole was that, we're on we just finished episode 4 and 3 out of the 4 episodes have finished with a shocking death, and it's just every time you get back to that well, you're going to get less and less water. And, I'm just like, I don't even care, if Talos is dead or alive, it doesn't even matter to me anymore. Just stop doing the same thing over and over,
Mm-hmm. What were your general thoughts on this week's episode?
Mixed, just like everyone else. I thought it had good action. I thought a few of the conversations were good. I thought one in particular wasn't. I thought the overall plot was convoluted and kind of annoying. The reveal, the confirmation, I guess, that Rhodey is a Skrull, I thought was interesting, but also like, what character is that? It would be interesting if it was a different character. But yeah, overall, definitely very mixed.
I agree with the panel. I actually want to go so far as calling this just generally bad. Again, not. I agree with Lokismom. It's not She-Hulk level bad because we got some really terrible episodes in that show. Even though I was not, when I rewatched it outside of the internet conversation, it wasn't as bad as I initially thought. But still. But this was just terrible to me. I liked the scene at the dinner table with Fury and his wife, but that was about it. I mean, the scene with Fury and Rhodey in the hotel room. You guys were saying good acting. Well, I actually didn't think that scene was particularly well acted, especially on Don Cheadle's part. It didn't do anything for me. And the action scene, it was a big brawl and a lot of stuff happening. The most interesting part was Gravik getting Groot arms and stuff like that, but see that in action. But yeah, overall, like I implied when I asked Merv this question, another shock death, I don't care. Do something else. I actually, this, to me, Secret Invasion took a very deep nosedive this week and is now dropping down my list on favorite MCU shows or projects. But anyway, I will get back to that in my rating. But Lokismom, did you spot a scroll? And can I have your likes and dislikes for this week's episode?
Yeah, I sort of covered it a little bit. As far as the big action sequence, which I thought was pretty standard but well done. I don't know. I don't really know what to add to it. I think you guys have said it. Yeah, it's kind of a disappointment, but I'm going to hold out some hope that it's going to pick back up next week, and we'll see as it runs into the climax. We'll see what goes on with it.
Yeah, well, yeah, there is also not much to say about this week's episode. I mean, you get like the big scene with Fury and his wife. You get a short scene with Don Cheadle and Rhodey and Fury, and then you get the big action scene. I mean, basically that's the episode, and well, there's not much to unpack. Taylor, can I have your thoughts on this week? Likes, dislikes? Please elaborate.
Yeah, just to follow up on what you said, this episode was Fury and his wife recite some poetry and try to shoot each other. Rhodey and Fury do a product placement for Pappy Bourbon or whatever the heck that was. Talos and his Gaia have a weird conversation on a park bench, and then someone tries to kill the president, and there's a big action scene. There's no connection. There's no flow. There's no story happening here. It's just da da da. And as far as the action scene goes, it was okay, but I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier had far better action scenes than that. I mean, heck, shows like Hawaii Five-0 and The Last Ship have had better action scenes than that. It was like I said, it wasn't. I've seen worse, but I've certainly seen a hell of a lot better in shows with lower budgets than this show has. So yeah, overall, just not real thrilled with this episode at all. And it's the most unsurprising reveal in television history that Rhodey is a Skrull. I don't know how long Rhodey's been a Skrull. I think they're playing coy with it. I haven't heard that that Marvel said he's been a Skrull in at least one movie. Yeah. I heard him say. I heard that, and they said in at least one appearance. Maybe somewhere else they said a movie. I just hadn't heard that. But as far as appearances go, the only one I can remember is he was in one scene in Falcon and Winter Soldier. That's the last one I can remember after Endgame, as far as I can. Maybe I'm forgetting some, but that's all I can remember. But they're playing with fire here if they're going to go back and say that he was a Skrull in Civil War or something like that, because that is going to turn off a big chunk of the fan base. It wouldn't be so bad if he was a good Skrull, but he's a bad Skrull. He's an evil Skrull. All right. And if they try to turn one of the Avengers was an evil Skrull the whole time, that's like saying, Captain America was in Hydra the whole time. They're going to piss people off. And I hopefully it'll turn out that, but it wasn't that long. It was like I said, maybe it changed like right at the end of Endgame. At Tony Stark's funeral, he was a Skrull, but everything before that, maybe something like that, they'll be fine. But if they try to go too far with it, they're really going to burn their own fingers, I think.
Mm-hmm. Any things you did like about this week's episode, besides the acting?
Well, I'm glad Gaia's not dead, even though, again, that was the second most unsurprising reveal in television history, that she wasn't dead. I really love how they, she can go into top secret rooms that apparently aren't guarded, and she knows how to operate this machine and give herself that upgrade without anyone seeing or knowing about it. That's really cool. Whoever wrote that one. Like I said before, I think the writers have been on strike longer than we realize. The writing is a little bit weak here. I mean, what can I say? Samuel L. Jackson is good no matter what he's doing. I've seen a lot of people making excuses for the show. I said, online and web podcasts and stuff, making excuses for the show, saying, well, they had to write around him because he's so old he can't do any action stuff. That's just nonsense. There's this thing in Hollywood, it's called stunt doubles. Yeah. They've been using them for over a century in Hollywood, and they work just fine. Okay. I've seen, even if they don't want to spend the money on CGI to make him do backflips. They can use a stunt double.
I do want to raise a point here. When in the beginning of this episode, when he walks into the restaurant and it's 2012, you can totally see that he is not as young as he was when they filmed it back in 2011. I mean, you can de-age Samuel L. Jackson all you want, but he does not walk like a man that was at that time in his 40s, 50s, or something like that. You can see he's an older guy walking. He's not as fit as he used to be. That's no jab at Samuel L. Jackson. I'm still jealous of his looks on his age. He's well into his 70s, but you can see that. But I do agree, action doesn't matter because they use stunt doubles. Taylor, anything else before I go to the follow-up of Loki's mom?
Yeah, the scene with him and his wife, I mean, again, well acted, but I mean, we went through the whole thing last week of her going to the world's most fancy bank and getting a gun, which, I mean, come on. She had to go that far to get a gun and take a phone call from Rhodey. But we went through all of that buildup, and then they just remember how much they love each other and both shoot and both intentionally miss each other and damage some of their bric-a-brac on the wall. Again, what's the point? Again, it's just scene. Where are we going? And what's she going to do now? Because, Gravitch would probably be after her, or is she going to, join the fight on his side? There's no indication. So, yeah, I don't know. I thought one thing was well done. I thought when Talos was killed in the shootout there, I liked how when he got wounded, he started losing his ability to shapeshift, but he still kept trying to break that thing. And that, of course, went back. That did go back to his conversation with Gaia, which was really kind of a lame conversation. What's your plan? Oh, I'm going to tell him how nice we are. I'm going to go to the president and tell him we're good guys. Okay, that's a plan. He seemed like a much smarter guy back in Captain Marvel than to come up with just that plan. But he saved the president's life, so maybe he's showing the world that the Skrulls, not all Skrulls are bad. So hopefully they'll follow up on that. But I thought the whole death scene itself was done quite well, with him changing partially and then changing all the way.
Yeah, I'm not an American, but I cannot imagine the Secret Service letting aliens into the Oval Office. But anyway, just like that. Loki's mom, you had a follow-up, and then I go to Merv for his deep dive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, going back, you had the question you originally asked me about between Rhodey and Fury. If you go back to the bourbon scene, we'll just call it that. Apparently Nick didn't know Rhodey was a Skrull and has been next to the president, and then Rhodey goes into this, conspiracy. That was so lame. That was so lame because President of the United States knows Nick Fury did not shoot anybody. I mean, whatever. He should have that enough sense to know that at this point in our Marvel history. But yeah, so apparently I don't know what's going on with that. And there again, I just have to agree that with everybody how it's just the writing's just kind of skewed. Anyway, I just wanted to add that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think Nick Fury knows that Rhodey is a Skrull, no doubt. But anyway, Merv, can I have your deep dive?
Yes, you can.
Oh, that's good. Let's have it then.
So I guess I'll start with the stuff I did like. I did enjoy both of Fury and Priscilla's conversations, even though I'm not really here for it. Like, I never, I guess, fully expected Secret Invasion to be like about the domestication of Nick Fury. So I'm not really I don't go into each episode really excited to see what's he gonna make for breakfast today. But I do enjoy his relationship with Priscilla, and I think that the conversations, even though again, I don't know what purpose it served in the overall plot, but both the conversations were, I thought, nicely done. I think it might have been a little more impactful if he shot her, if he just, if she was actually against him and he shot her, and now we've got this huge tragedy to tack on to Nick Fury's thing, and Skrulls are bad, but they didn't go that route because people liked her, I guess. But one other thing, Scrody, I love that name, used the term, I'm going to say it wrong, defenestrate, which is to throw somebody out of a window. And I don't know, whenever I heard it, I was like, ooh, that's a fancy word, So I did like that. Whenever he was threatening Nick Fury in his office, he was like, get out of here before I have you defenestrated. And I don't know, I just like that vocabulary being used, even though a lot of the writing around it wasn't particularly great. And the motorcade action sequence I thought was fun. Is it, something crazy unique? No, but I thought there was some cool ground to air combat, and I liked showing that Gravik has multiple powers, not just the healing of himself, but he has Groot's power. So the assumption there is that he has all the powers that we saw on that list. So I assume he has something from all of those people, whatever that might be. Maybe he has frost powers that are going to come into play later on or something.
And that means Gaia has them too. So what I said last week, we get good Skrull, good Super Skrull versus bad Super Skrull. In the end, episode 6 is a given.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for everything I liked. The middle ground is that Scrody was revealed to be a Skrull, which was obvious, but it was a female Skrull. And the only thing I really know from the Secret Invasion comic books is that there's a female Skrull pretty much in charge of everything. And I got the impression that Scrody was working outside of Gravik's intel a little bit in regards to Priscilla, especially. So that gave me the implication, or that made me think that maybe she's kind of doing her own thing, but using Gravik as well. Maybe he's like the figurehead and she's actually the puppeteer controlling a lot of things. So, and I double checked because my other second thought was like, well, maybe it's in the comics, it's Varank is a Skrull leader. But in the previous episodes, I was thinking, well, maybe it's Soren. And it's hard for me to tell the difference between Skrulls, but it doesn't look like the features of Soren in like episode 1 or 2, whenever she was shown in a flashback, are the same as this Skrull. So I ruled that out. But, I still think that character might show up somewhere down the line as a surprise. So
as the president of the United States.
Exactly. Maybe, stab, Gravik in the back or something. It's like, oh, surprise. Yeah, but everything I didn't like, a lot of it's already been mentioned, but the Gaia death cliffhanger from the previous episode it felt like it should have just been at the end of previous episode. Just pack all your stupidity on that one episode. Because like I said last week, I certainly didn't expect it. Didn't sound like anyone else from this podcast expected her to be dead, so it's not surprising anyone. So then what purpose does it serve? It serves none. All it does is water down potentially Talos's death this week. It's like, how many times do we got to keep, feeling the same way? Maria Hill, then Gaia, now Talos. It's just all, it's the same thing over and over again. So what's the point? Talos not having a plan caught me really off. Like, I expected a better conversation at that point. Him to just say, yeah, we'll just, stop this insurgency, and then we'll just, beg for a place to stay. It's like, that's not a plan. That's what you do if everything else fails.
I want to make a point about that. He has been on Earth for 30 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he has been working on getting a home for the Skrulls for 30 years. They established that with that scene in 1997, in the beginning of episode 2. They are working on this. And now his best plan is to stop the insurgency that is just happening and then ask the president for a favor.
It seemed ridiculous to me. It seemed like...
That doesn't make sense in any way, in my view.
And hearing that, like, I can't blame any of these Skrulls for being fed up with the lack of progress that's been made. Like, you still don't have a plan. Gaia walking away was probably the smartest thing she's ever done. You're delusional. So now
you get you know that hashtag that that was actually trending for a while, and actually they used it in what was it? Hawkeye. Thanos was right. We're going to get the hashtag Gravik is right.
Yeah. So, that just really plummeted my personal opinion of Talos as a character. I'm just like, this guy's an idiot.
No, he's worthless. As a general, they were right to replace him.
He wants to be in charge. What's he in charge? He does nothing. He's an absentee landlord. But yeah, that, and then like Loki's mom said, the idea that, you know, the Fury coming out and saying there's a shape-shifting alien that actually did this in this MCU world doesn't seem as far-fetched as they're making it sound.
Not at all.
Like aliens are a constant presence for the last 20 years. So
Yeah, but I
you know,
mean, even Skrulls are known for 30 years by a government agency like SHIELD. Do you think that the President of the United States, whoever is in that function, doesn't know about Skrulls on Earth?
yeah,
Yeah.
I just the whole concept, like it might have worked, in the Iron Man era, where like before a lot of this stuff started to churn, but like, how is that not a feasible,
Yeah.
premise? Fury coming to people saying, "Hey, there's shapeshifting aliens. They're causing harm." This is not, a world without this stuff. This is a world that understands and has seen this stuff all over the place.
They had alien
In countless
invasion in New York 10 years ago. They had an alien coming down, snapping away half the universe.
It's a constant presence. They had a giant thing pop up out of the earth, which still hasn't been touched on by pretty much anything else, But it's like, at a certain point, it's like, do you guys even realize you're in the same world as all this stuff? Unless that's the surprise, like we're in a different world altogether, and none of this stuff even matters.
That's an
I'm
idea.
not even going to entertain it though, because I'm already hating that idea. I don't even want to put that
We're,
out there.
we're
for
in
them
the
to pick it up.
multiverse saga, so it could happen.
Exactly. But
So-
yeah, definitely a very mixed bag, and trending downward, I'd say. And the clock is ticking for this show. 6 episodes is only 6 episodes. We're through what, 3/4 of it, or 66% of it at this point, or whatever it is. So yeah, there's not much time left to right the ship, and I'm just tired of that being a constant with these MCU shows, is like waiting for the good stuff to happen and then the show's over.
Yeah, and let's just face it, we already know the ending. I mean, Gaia's going to win and join some sort of crew or whatever, or be available for Secret Wars, whatever.
Yeah.
Taylor, you had a follow-up.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, here's a plan. Like 30 years ago, Nick Fury and whoever was the boss of S.H.I.E.L.D. at the time take Talos in to see the President of the United States. Hey, Mr. President, give these guys their own little colony out in Area 51 and somewhere, and they'll give you the greatest freaking spies in the history of the world. Deal. Done. Everyone's happy. Was that so hard?
Yeah, no. Instead, they have a compound now in Moscow. Yeah, like the US president would let that happen. Especially in this day and age, but let's not get into real world problems.
Well, I don't know the Merv's suggestion. It's an alternate. It kind of gives me hope.
That does not give me hope.
Maybe this is the same world as She-Hulk, and it doesn't really count in the end after Secret Wars. I don't know. Let's hope so.
I don't know. I'm just trying to hang in there to Loki season 2.
Yeah. Well, let's see. I think it's time for a rating. And I think Marvel Studios is now in for a bashing, but let's rate this week's episode. Episode 4, always fun, episode 4 of a Marvel TV show. I'm going to start with Merv. Merv, may I have your number?
I'm going 5 out of 10. There was a little bit there that I snagged onto, but like the writing is pulling it down so much in so many different areas, and it's not She-Hulk bad, but it's trending down.
Yeah. Taylor?
6 out of 10. I know how Loki's mom thinks that Nick Fury might be a Skrull, and it's possible, but he's like the worst Skrull ever because he doesn't act anything like the Nick Fury we've seen for the last 10, 12, however many years we've been watching. And who is this Nick Fury? Why? And I understand that's the story arc because he's been through trauma and bull crap like that. But the guy's been going through trauma his whole life. They established that a long time ago. I mean, people try to kill him like every other day. So I just think it.
Mm-hmm.
They're throwing a lot of freaking wiffle balls here.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if in the blip, when the blip happened, did some people cross over dimensions, or I wonder if they've ever thought of that.
I don't know. They will have something going on, but we'll see. Loki's mom and I are talking anyway. Can I have your number, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 6.2. I mean, it's not 6.2, but 6 also. uh, yeah, it's like I say, it's going down, and I give points for some of the acting, and I did enjoy some of the scenes and whatnot. If you just kind of forget about the plot.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go 3 out of 10. I absolutely did not like this episode, and I think it really hurts Marvel Phase 5. I think it hurts Nick Fury, the character. I think it hurts a lot of things they are trying to do, and I actually, while we were talking, I was thinking about going 2, but I stopped myself. But 3 out of 10, absolutely trash this week's episode, in my book. Although one thing that I gave that extra point for is the fact that now everybody knows how to break up a relationship. You just say the other person is their biggest mistake ever, piled on a lot of other big mistakes. Well, that was clear that the relationship was over. Anyway, talking about things that are over. This will conclude our week's review for Beloved, episode 4 of Secret Invasion. We hope you have enjoyed our discussion today. If you did, you can help us out by like and share this video. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you really want more of us, you can join our forum at soccerdo.freeforums.net. For now, I want to thank you all, also on behalf of our champions, and wish you to be safe and be well. Thank you. Bye.